Behind every brand, every movement, every leader, every transformation, there's a story. And intertwined in these stories is a message. And this podcast is for you, the next gen leader, coach, entrepreneur, and influencer. My name is Travis Brady, and I'm a branding mentor and sales story strategist. I hope you see me more of a guide than a host as I share the stories behind the brands, so you can take these stories, experiences, principles, and teachings and use them to share your story with the world. What is up? Welcome to the story behind the brand. I'm with Keira Brinton here today. Super excited for our conversation. She's a media entrepreneur, technology founder, publisher, television producer, and host dedicated to helping leaders transform their wisdom into lasting impact. As a founder of JOA Publishing, creator of Live True, and executive producer of multiple transformational media projects, she has built an ecosystem that helps visionaries share their stories through books, technology, television, and thought leadership. A TEDx speaker, 7-time author, a single mother of 5 who built a multi-million-dollar company in 3 years. Keira is known for bridging spiritual depth with strategic execution. She is an executive producer of Writer's Island and Path of Mastery and the host of Live Mastery, a talk show featured influential leaders sharing the defining moments, failures, breakthroughs, and lessons that shaped their success. Through every book, conversation series, and platform she creates, Keira's mission remains the same: helping people recognize the value of their experiences, trust the wisdom they carry, and share their message with the world. So super excited to have you here today, Keira. Fill in the gaps. Tell us a little bit more about you. You have an incredible bio, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild journey for sure. This didn't just, this path was not the path I expected to walk. That's what I will say.
So what did you want to be when you were younger, when you were a little kid? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a professional dancer.
Professional dancer. Okay.
Yeah. So I trained 6 hours a day. When I was 18, I moved from Gilbert, Arizona to Chicago to study dance, and it was the greatest year ever. But that's not the path that I ended up walking. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the different versions of my life, but I'm really grateful for this version.
Love it. So a lot of your success has been previous. When did you start to get into book writing? When did that become like an actual thing for you?
Well, in 2017 is where my life actually began to shift. It was a culmination of, we'll call it the compound effect of trauma and being in a really hard marriage and losing myself. I really lost myself in my life. I forgot who I was, and I created this deep, dark moment of not wanting to live. And anyone who's ever experienced that knows that when you're in those moments, nothing feels like it's going to work. And that's how it was for me in 2017. And so on February 17th of 2017, I almost took my life. And that day I felt the God of my understanding actually arrive in that room. And I heard a message that said, "You have work to do. You need to stay." And there was something that occurred in that moment of time where my higher self, divine self, like made a contract that I would do whatever God asked me to do. And I became different. Like it was like a rebirth. It wasn't a near death, but it was like I became a different human. And right after I had that experience, I felt the first calling, which was to write a book. And I thought that was so strange. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a massage therapist, and I was like a photographer on the weekends, a self-taught photographer. And I thought, why would I write a book? But I just made this commitment to write a book, like to do whatever God asked. And so I wrote this book. And while I was writing this book, God asked me to start a publishing house. And I was like, what? What are you even saying to me right now? Like, I don't even know what a publishing house is. Like, I don't even know what are we doing? But I had made this covenant. And so I did research on how to start a publishing house. I began to build a publishing house. And actually writing books didn't even happen until like 2019. I started to help people write books. And that just came out of, I was working with a client one on one. I was doing like coaching for women, and her book arrived. And I don't know how the other way to say it other than like I saw her book, I felt her book, and she never even thought she was going to write a book. And then she wrote her book in 4 weeks. And that's when I understood that like I have these gifts of being a book medium. And that worked really well because now I had a publishing house. And so it was like this, it was a path that unfolded not quickly. It was over time.
Okay, cool. So when you got into what was your first book called and what was that book about?
That's pretty intense. So you ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I received the calling to write a book, I went into prayer every day and I was like, what is this book I'm supposed to write? Like, okay, you say write a book, but like, what does that even look like? And one day I was driving back to my house after dropping my kids off at school, and I saw a book cover because I see visions. Like, this is my gift as I'm a visionary. Literally, I see visions. And I saw it from the top down, word by word, it was uncovered. And it said the hidden gifts within the trauma of sexual abuse. And that was my trauma as a child. I went through a tremendous amount of sexual abuse. And I was like, I'm not going to write that book. That sounds like a horrible book. Also, there are no gifts in this trauma, but I had just made this like contract that I would do whatever I was called to do. And so I began to what I called channel this book. And in the receiving of this book, I actually found the gifts that were in my trauma. And by so doing, was able to do so much deep healing work uh, through receiving that book.
Let me ask you a question. How do you know? Because I've been much more in the last couple of years, it seems like unfortunately we have to go through hard times sometimes to come back to God. You know,
Yeah.
so unfortunate sometimes that we just can't stay in contact when we're going through good times, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's crazy the things that he has showed me in the last year, the things that have happened, and I'm like so angry at him. And then 8 hours later, it like comes, full circle, and I'm so grateful for what happened and just like crazy situations that's really hard to explain to someone without getting like really deep into the conversation. But for the sake of the podcast, my question is, how do you know you're actually hearing God's voice and following what he prompts versus just your own intuition and what you think? I think that's the
Mhm.
thing that I have really, I want to say struggled, but trying to identify like, is this just something that I want, or is this something that I feel like God is wanting me to do? Because at the end of the day, I want to feel like God's in my corner. I want to feel like I'm doing God's work in this world. And then sometimes I'm like, is this just what I want, or am I really doing that, if that makes sense? So that's just been the question that's been going through my mind lately.
Yeah, I love this question. And I think this is one of my favorite questions because I speak so openly, like God spoke to me, God said this, God guided me. And that didn't just happen overnight. It For me, it's a combination of my level of devotion. So like every morning I spend at least 30 minutes to an hour in my prayer corner, like blessing my body, sitting in prayer, sitting in meditation and asking. I ask to receive. And then every time I ask, words will come to me. I write it down, ideas will come to me. So it's like that's when I get very clear is like when I ask, things arrive. And that is different than just like, oh, I want to do this. Like, no, the precision of my ask is actually being this magnet to what I'm wanting to like receiving. But also, what I found is that when I receive from God, it is clear and it is one time. But when it's me, it loops. And I think about it a lot and it comes back in and it loops around and it just becomes like this consistent record playing thing. God gives it to me once and then it's like, you gonna do it? I don't know. Like, and then the heavens get quiet until I do it. So for me, there's like a very clear, like sword like energy that comes from the divine. And it's not a suggestion and it's not something to like, oh, maybe this was a good idea. Like, don't do this. But then if I don't do it, it's not a punishment. It's just like the heavens get quiet until I do it. And then I get my next step. And so if like I feel like God's not talking to me, I have to go back and go, what was I inspired to do that I didn't take action on yet? Then when I do it, there's like the next step unlocks. So I don't know if that helps at all.
Yeah, what I've learned over the last few years is God will hear you through anything. He will hear you through your anger. He will hear you through your tears. He will hear you through everything. But what I've come to find out is sometimes I can't hear God when I'm in those emotions. I can't hear him when I'm crying. I can't hear him when I'm angry. So I've had to learn how to, in those moments when I'm upset, frustrated, hurt, even crying, to stay in the conversation while until I can get really clear and really silent and actually hear. That's what I've really noticed here in the last years.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people that you work with probably feel the same way you do. They're like, I have to write this book. Like God is asking me to write this book. Why do you feel like, where do you feel like people get stuck in the book writing process? You've worked with tons of book publishers now. Where do most people get it right? And even before we go there, I asked what's because why should someone write a book? Why is it so important these days to write a book?
Mm. Yeah, I love that question. Well, and let me just also acknowledge that not everybody who comes to me says God called me to do this. They don't actually have to be a super spiritual person. After working with me, they probably will be, but but they don't have to be when they
Sure.
arrive. But it's that they just have a knowingness. Like they're like, I cannot ignore this book. Like it just, no matter what I do, it just keeps coming in. And that is like, those are the people that I help write books. I don't, I think my main tagline is like, I don't publish boring shit. So if people want to come to me and they want to have like a calling card book, or they are like, I should write this book because it's going to give me these accolades, or like go somewhere else. Like just have Chat GPT write that book. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in the business of writing those kind of books. I really want to help people write books that are going to transform humanity today, but forever. And that's the piece that's super important for me, is that what we write lives beyond our lives. There's nothing that we can guarantee. Like we might be like, YouTube will live forever. Yeah. Remember when cassette tapes were cool? Like we don't know, right? Like we don't even know what TV is going to look like in 100 years, but books have been here from the beginning of time, and they consistently are here. And we know that also because Napoleon Hill's book was written over 100 years ago, still the best business book on the planet. Do you think that he would have thought, oh, in 2026, people are going to be reading my book still, and it's going to be changing the world? That's the power of books, is that they change people's lives now and forever. And so there's my piece on why that's so important. But more important than ever right now is like true lived, like, I call it lived truth. Like AI cannot write lived truth. AI can write some really powerful one-liners and brilliant things, but like it cannot write lived truth, which is what we as humanity need to read. We need to read real people's experiences, their stories. What is God telling them? What inspiration does the world not have yet? If we just let AI write all of our books, we're just going to end up closing the heavens and truly living a regurgitated content existence, which will stop all inventions, inspiration, creation, art. And so, if anyone has ever felt the call to write a book, 2026 is probably the most important year for you to do it.
Yeah, the time is now. Here's my belief. I've talked to this to a few people about this. I feel like our generation, I don't know how to word this correctly, but our generation is going to be the oldest, most how do I explain it? It is going to be the oldest but most documented era of humanity of all time with AI and books and just everything that we have. I mean, Tony Robbins talks about he'll live forever because he has all these trainings and all these things and is going to upload the AI. So I can't remember who I was talking about this the other day, but I was like, we will be one of the oldest, like thousands of years from now. I think we will be one of the oldest, most well documented era of all time. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah, I hear it. I feel it.
Yeah, and thanks to AI, but it's artificial intelligence. And what I hear you saying is there's nothing artificial about the human intelligence, and that's really what makes people stand out. And I think when AI came on, everyone was quick to jump on it, but now there seems to be like this backlash against AI. Like, oh, I don't want a video that's just me of AI. It's like we're almost anti-AI, but it's like we have to use it in order to replicate ourselves. So, how are you using AI with
Hmm.
someone's heart and story and spirit while being able to utilize it, but not like water down their message?
So, hmm.
Or are you just staying away from it altogether?
No, no. I mean, I've built a AI sovereign system. I believe that we partner with AI, but we do not outsource our inspiration to AI. And that's the difference. Like we partner with it, but it's like I partner with my employees, right? Like I have an amazing assistant, I've got project managers, but I'm not asking them to give me visions for my company, right? Like they work with me, they're partners with me, but they're not giving me visions. And that's the distinction that I think we have to have here is like AI gets to work with us and for us, but it is not here to take the role of visionary and inspiration. And that's the place where things can get sketchy. Also, I have like some serious rage. So just know this. I have real rage around all these fucking AI videos of people speaking on stages when they never spoke on a damn stage. All of these AI pictures of people looking so perfect that you actually can't tell that it's AI unless you're like, I'm pretty sure that person doesn't ride motorcycles. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the pretense, like the falseness that is out there that is it hurts my skin. I'm like, no. Like, do you know how much money I've had to pay to get on stages? Do you know like that I like have bled to get on certain stages? Like my stage pictures mean something.
Yeah.
Not all this bullshit of people being like, I'm on no, you are. You never were on a stage. Liar. Right? Like I have all this rage. And so this is like a big part of why I've created the TV shows is like I want people to see authors writing their books because how do we actually know if someone's writing anymore? And that's why I've created The Path of Mastery. It's a new TV series we're shooting actually in 2 weeks. People are going to watch authors write their books so that when they publish it, they're like, hey, do you see this movie of me writing my book? Like, I want more of that. So we use AI to help people like you wrote your manuscript. Awesome. Let's use AI to take the words you've already channeled and turn it into a digital course. We're not asking AI to write the course. You already wrote the book.
Yeah.
No, so now what we're doing is we're just multiplying. But then my software, which is called Live True, is, I mean, I'm like obsessed with it. And it's simply that because of it, I have 60 videos of me helping people channel their books. So they get to actually, in my software, watch videos all day long. It it's coded to know when they like hit trauma. So the second that they're writing and they get into a trauma loop, my system can detect trauma loops and be like, hey, you've hit trauma. You need to go into the nervous system reset. Then I have all this nervous system reset in the software. And then they channel into the software. They write into the software. They take Google Docs and my software will organize it for them, not write it, organize it. And then they're able to actually see their manuscript from a completely new viewpoint. We could never have done this without AI. This is life changing for all visionaries. So I love AI, and also like we don't let it do the fun things for us, which is be visionaries.
Yeah. So for someone that is knowing that they need to write a book, they have a
Mhm.
general subject, but they really don't know where they're going. What advice would you give that person? They're like, okay, I want to write a book. I'm really stuck. I don't want to sound like everyone else. What
Mhm.
is some of the common advice you give to those earlier book writers in the book writing process?
So it always comes down to the precision of the ask, right? Like if you ask, what is the most important message I'm here to bring to humanity? When I say ask, you can ask God, the divine source, whatever it is you work with, but there's a higher power at play. Ask, what is the most important message I'm here to write? And with that ask, you will begin to receive. And I know that because every person I work with, I ran webinars for 2.5 years every week. Every random person that showed up my webinar, they received. It's just that we're not asking. And so when we're not asking, we're not receiving. And so then all of a sudden we're like, well, what would be a good idea? I don't know. Like this would sell well. Like all that's bullshit. Everybody's been anointed to bring a message to the earth. I believe that. If you ask, you will hear it. And then you just begin to receive it.
With when I got into speaking, I quickly realized how important it is to share stories to essentially get your message out there. Prior to that, it was about information, information, information. Why, for those that haven't had a lot of maybe speaking training or storytelling training, why do you think it's so important to share your story versus just share data and information?
hmm So I like to dance between the two. I think our stories, one, it always bypasses the conscious mind. So if you start with a story, we're going to actually go through the conscious mind and we're going to move into someone's subconscious mind, which is where we're going to get the greatest shifts and transformation for them. Stories are the way there. So we can start with some stories. We're going to soften people's objections, their fears, their doubts. They just kind of all go away. And stories kind of bring us into a somatic experience. So when someone's telling a story, all of a sudden we're like there and we feel it. And we're no longer in this exact moment of our problems and our stresses and all of our things. We're like in the story. So stories are important. But something that I really love to include is asking, what are some messages that humanity needs? Not information. What is a message that humanity needs? And usually it derives from the story. Like you'll tell the story and then it's like, oh, I know the message that somebody needs after this story. And so we go between both, right? I don't actually just help people write memoirs. Like I'm not a memoir coach. I'm a coach that helps people write messages that are going to transform humanity. And while you will have some memoir parts, because stories are so important, that's not the whole deal. Like what messages need to be given? That's what we get to do.
Love it. So someone has wrote a book. How do they utilize this book to get on stages, get clients? Like, what are some of the new practices or the best practices you have encouraged clients to how to utilize their books?
Yeah. So, I mean, books are, even though I say I don't help people write calling card books because I think that's boring. But if you write the best book ever, like your best book ever, it's the best calling card you could ever have because people are going to read it and they're just going to obviously want more of you. Like if you take the time to write that level of a book, it's the easiest funnel in the world for people to come into your world. And so I have in all the books that we publish, we always have a QR code at the front that offers them a gift that brings them into your email list. So immediately now, whoever's in your book is on your list. This is just top priority. But every time I go to events, I give out my books. Guess what? It cost me $5, $5 to print a book. If we're looking at ad spend, all right, if I can get a client for $5, we're winning in the ad spend arena, right? So if I'm going to look at my books like ad spend and I'm like, well, I'm in the perfect community, right? Like all these people here are my perfect fit clients because I'm speaking on a stage where they all are. I give them all a book. Now, after I speak, they're going to go home. They're probably going to open it up. And most likely, they're going to want to be in my world. Also, there's a free gift at the front that I usually make great gifts. So they're going to usually get onto my list. It's a no-brainer. We can give out our books at every event that we are speaking on. Done. Now, if you want to get onto podcasts or you want to get onto stages, saying that you are a published author always puts you up to the next level because it just automatically puts you as a thought leader. Also, like you're devoted. You mean business. You're not just like, I don't know, I have like some good ideas. You're like, no, I actually wrote a book.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay. Then that means you could have some really powerful conversations. So it just shifts the level of who you are, what's possible. And then, obviously when we throw TV on it, I can get booked on most stages because of my TV show. And so like that is like the combo. And that's why I went into TV is because I could help people write the best damn books in the world. But if we don't have anyone to read them, it doesn't matter. And so that's also why I started going into producing.
I love it. So tell me about Writer's Island. What's led to it actually being a thing? What has been some crazy experiences you went through? What are some people walking away with? So the sizzle reel, the commercial of it was incredible. Uh,
Yeah.
really sets you up in a powerful way before you go on stage. And for those that haven't heard Keira speak, she does such a great job. She's so relatable. And one of the things that I want to just commend you on that is really hard for a speaker is how do you like great storytellers or good storytellers tell a great story. Amazing storytellers bring people into an experience.
Yeah.
And you do so good doing that. So I just want to
Mhm.
commend you on how good you own that stage. Because you rock it, sister. And a woman that can speak on stage, they're just dangerous. I've just seen it. They're just so dangerous. It seems like the speaking world is dominated by the males a little bit, but a woman that can get up there and hold her own, man. So all the ladies listening, uh, it's a really important skill set that I feel like is so vital in your career.
Yeah, I will say out of everything that I do, and I do feel like I'm good at writing books and all these things, but the second I'm on stage, like the world stops and like everything is right. Like I was like, if I could be on a stage every day of my life, like it's the easiest thing I do. And
Yeah.
I really I love it so much. And I think it is because I love getting people to shift. And that's the fun of a stage is I can get a whole room to shift their whole environment inside and outside within minutes. And that's just like so exciting for me. So what was the original
Oh,
question?
Writer's Island. So tell me
Oh,
about
Writer's
yeah,
Island.
tell me
Okay,
about
so
Writer's Island. Yeah.
so Writer's Island, this is a fascinating story. So long story short, for this, I'm going to give you like a 3 minute backdrop here. So 3 years ago, I had $5,000 left. I had just gone through a divorce. God told me to take no child support, no alimony. And I was like, sure, sure. So it was like burn the ships, right? Like I had no house. I didn't even own a pillow. Okay. Like I owned nothing. I like just walked away with my children and my clothes and my 12-seater van because I drove a 12-seater van back then. And uh, I had some really powerful spiritual experiences where God taught me how to start actually making money. And within 5 months' time of these spiritual experiences, I had made like I think $600,000 or something.
Oh,
And I was like still scared because I was like, I remember it was like to have $5,000. And like, I don't have anyone in my life who has money. So it's not like, well, my parents could just like loan me some money. Like it was like a lone wolf, like do or die kind of moment. And so about 5 months later, and I'm starting to make some cash, God tells me to go to Necker Island. And I was like, I don't even know what Necker Island is. And so I look into it. We find this guy, his name's Yannick Silver. You have to apply. I go through the application. He's like, yeah, you are a perfect fit. It's $45,000. And I was like, I just don't think like that's a wise decision. Like I almost, like almost died like 5 months ago with no money. So like, I'm not going to spend $45,000 for a 7 day trip to some island. And God was like, you have to be on this island. And so I'm like a little spicy with God as always. I'm like, fine. If you'd like me to go to Necker Island, I need $45,000 to drop into my bank account tomorrow morning. And then I'll go. And 5 minutes later, I get a text from somebody I've been working on a sale with, which back in those days, I was taking people on 5 day adventures to write their books, and it was 45,000. And she said, I've decided to go on the adventure. I'll wire you your money. You'll have 45,000 in your bank account tomorrow morning. I was like, oh my gosh, no. Why? So I pay my 45. I go to Necker. And I'm like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party. I'm like the 12-year-old at the high school party on Necker. Like everyone's just partying. And I'm just like, why did God bring me here? Like it's pretty. Like, of course, I'm missing the BVIs. I'm like hanging out with Richard Branson. He's like reading my book. Sure, sure. This is cool. But like, also, like, why did I have to come? And on the last night, I met a guy named Rudy Moore. And I was like, this guy's smart. I'm gonna remember him. Like maybe like this was maybe why I was supposed to come. So a month later, God tells me to get on my Instagram. I get on my Instagram and it's like a reel for some silent retreat, which like is like my worst nightmare. Like going to a retreat to be silent. That sounds like horrible.
I've heard of those.
And
I've heard of
yeah,
them.
bad idea. Bad idea. So then God says, and it's on an island next to Necker. And God's like, you have to go back to this island. You have to go back to BVI's in a month. And I'm like, who do you think I am? Like Queen of Sheba? Like I'm just like going to BVI all the time? Like what? But like I was so clear I had to be on that island. So pay my 10,000, go to this island, and while I'm there, I get a very distinct message, and it was that I would to bring authors to this island to write their books. And so I went from like the only event I've ever ran to this point was like at Savannah, this wellness place. It cost me $7,000 to rent a room for a week to renting an island for $200,000. So it was a bit of a shift.
Go
Yeah.
you though. Go you for like taking a big shot. Like, I think the biggest problem with most entrepreneurs is they're just playing with pennies and then
Yeah.
they win dollars. You know what I mean? Like if you want to play big, you gotta win big, you know what I mean? And so go you. That's incredible.
So I do. I don't know how to play small ever,
Yeah.
right? And so I rent this island, almost kills me. That's fine. I show up to the island with $5,000 left in my bank account because it took everything I had to rent this island. And I get there and God says, you're going to have a TV show and it's going to be on this island. I'm like, what have you been saying to me? Like I have 7,000 followers. And 4 months later, Rudy Moore, who I'd met on Necker, reached out and he said, hey, I think this is a TV show. I'd like to produce it with you. And so that is how Writer's Island began. And so then we shot season one a year ago on the island, and we shot season two last October. And it has taken a year of editing.
Wow.
And mind you, I mean, being a single mother, I have four children still at home. My oldest has moved out. I don't have a nanny. I don't have like I'm just me running like an empire. Um, and I'm booked every hour of the day, either with children or work. And so I had to get up at 6 a.m. with my editor every week to edit this TV show. So, I mean, like labor of love, and it's going to be live in a month.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it is a lot to edit videos. And yeah, after you watch hers, you'll see that's it's amazing. And there's a lot of work that goes in behind that as well.
Yeah.
Um, who is a good fit for Writer's Island? Who is not a good fit for Writer's Island?
Well, so we're not doing Writer's Island anymore because I did decide, one, I just get bored. I don't know. Do you get bored, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you're always biting off
Yeah.
more than you can chew because you have so many different ideas,
Yeah.
think over time you start to really understand, what's going to fulfill me the most while providing the most influence and income. And I think that's a battle that every entrepreneur faces every single year of his business. So,
Yeah, I for sure am the same. And I was just like, after doing two seasons on the island, I was like, there's no way to make this different, right? Like it's like the same show, just different people. And I was like, and also I was like, kind of like done renting an island for 200,000. I was like, I feel like we can do this cheaper, you
yeah.
know? And so that's when I started this new TV series called Path of Mastery, where I'm only taking three authors to sacred places around the earth. And we're doing like a full documentary of them writing their book, but also a lot more of them like speaking their message into the world. So it's not so much a reality show as Writer's Island is. It's more of like where they began. And so people who are a good fit for that are people who they don't want to play small. Like they're full send people, right? Like if I could tell you the fastest path to making impact is to actually get something on TV. Like the people who know that are going to jump in on that. Otherwise, like, or you can just keep posting every week on social media and like do the slow grind, and that's fine. But like the world needs it now. And so people who can feel that in their bones, like they can feel like, okay, if I can get my message out faster while writing my book, while doing all this work, that's the one for people to get onto. That's who I put on. But I am very, very careful about who I put on the show because if someone's just like at the beginning of their path, like, I don't know, this sounds fun. No, like you actually have to have like some roots. You actually have to have gone through some like breakdowns and you made it through the breakdowns. Like those are the people who can handle TV.
I love it. How can people follow you on your journey? Where are you most active on social media?
Instagram for sure. It's just my name, Keira Brinton.
Keira Brinton. Okay. And you
Mhm.
host some weekly master classes, workshops on writing a book, correct?
So I don't do them anymore. We
Okay.
actually have shifted into a new era where I do have a free workshop that people can watch. It's not live anymore. It is
Okay.
recorded, but it's a really good workshop. So we'll get you guys that link.
Okay, cool. Well, appreciate you coming on here. Excited to have you come speak out of the events that we're having out here in Arizona. Congrats on all your success and everything that you've had. It's really inspiring. And yeah, I'm super excited to be working with you in the future. If you are listening and you know someone can benefit from this podcast, my only ask is please send that to someone who can really hear this message. That's my price for listening to the podcast. Go give me a review. Tell me what you're liking from the podcast. Be inspired in what you're doing. Okay. The world needs to hear your story. So get it out there and we'll talk soon. Good talk.
Hey, you know you have a story to share with the world, which means you need to get on more live stages. Go to benextgen.com/speak. Again, benextgen.com/speak. Or you could just click the link in the description. Fill out an application. Our team will reach out to you and show you how our speaker partnership works. Get on a stage, get video, blow up your brand, blow up your business. Let's go.